And we're back with more New York Rangers franchise mode in FHM 11. And the last one, we started out by shaping our roster into what it is now. Obviously, we made several moves to stay below the salary cap ceiling as we signed Laurent Brossoit as our backup goaltender. We re-signed Eric Gustafsson. We also re-signed Matthew Robertson, Matthew Rempe, Braden Schneider, Brady Shea, Capo Caco, and Will Coyley. And we made a few trades as well. We traded Jacob Trouba and his $8 million cap hit for the next 2 years for a third-round pick, which ended up being Tuomas Suoniemi. We traded the rights to Ryan Lindgren in exchange for Jeff Petrie at 50% of his salary retained, a fifth-round pick, which ended up being Matthew Soto, a fifth-round pick for next year, and a sixth-round pick, which ended up being Zach Sharp. And then in exchange for Brett Berard and the rights to Mac Hollowell, we acquired Ryan Donato. And then we shipped Barclay Goodrow to LA in exchange for a fourth-round pick to clear up some more cap. But nonetheless, this is the roster we are working with now, and we're going to see what we can do in the first couple of months of the season as we advance probably to, I'm going to say, December 1st, and we'll see where we're at. And actually, something new to FHM 11, I believe, is even when you have a head coach now, you can still, I'm pretty sure, set the lineups and tactics now, as they have now enabled that option. Before it would have been disabled. So let's see if we can truly edit the lines here. Yeah, it seems we can edit the lines to my specifics. I think I could actually even change player roles. So that is certainly very much appreciated. A very good quality of life change. As for some reason, AV has Zibanejad on the third line. That is definitely not going to happen. Let's put him on the first line there with Panarin and I'm going to say Kako. Or you know what, maybe why is Kreider on the fourth line? Jeez, AV is really not off to a good start here in year number one, at least as far as the lines go. Oh, you know what, Zibanejad was probably on the third line before because of his fitness. It was only at 62%, but that still doesn't explain Kreider being on the fourth line with 96%. So I guess I understand why he had Zibanejad where he did, but Kreider is really what did not make sense to me. All right, so here are the lines that we are starting out with. First line, you have Panarin, Zibanejad, and Kreider. Second line, you have Lafreniere, Hedl, and Kako. Third line, you have Donato, Trocheck, and Rempe. Fourth line, you have Coyley, Edstrom, and Nash. And on defense, you have Shea and Fox, Miller and Schneider, and then Gustafsson and Petrie. In goal, of course, you have Shesterkin and Brossoit. Shootout is Panarin, Zibanejad, Kreider, Fox, and Kako. And extra attacker is Zibanejad and Trocheck. Power play, you have Panarin, Zibanejad, Lafreniere, Fox, and Shea. Second line is Kreider, Trocheck, Kako, Hedl, and Schneider. 5-on-3 power play is the same. 4-on-3 power play, Zibanejad, Panarin, Hedl, and Fox. Then you have Trocheck, Kreider, Lafreniere, and Shea. Penalty kill, you have Trocheck, Kreider, Shea, and Schneider. Then it's Hedl, Donato, Miller, and Petrie. And then Edstrom, Rempe, Gustafsson, and Fox. 5-on-3 penalty kill is Trocheck, Shea, and Schneider. Hedl, Miller, and Petrie. 4-on-3 is the same. 4-on-4, you have Zibanejad, Kreider, Shea, and Fox. Trocheck, Panarin, Miller, and Schneider. Then 3-on-3 is Zibanejad, Kreider, and Fox. Trocheck, Panarin, and Shea. So with all that being set, let's advance to, I would say, December 1st. Ooh, not starting out great here. 1-4, so 1-5. Okay, if we get one more loss in October here, I'm stopping the simulation. Yeah, okay. 2-6 to start the season, that's not good. That is not good. Now, what appears to be the problem here? Ryan Donato is our team leader in points so far, so that's definitely a problem. 6 points in 8 games played. Then you have Trocheck and Fox with 5. 4 for Kreider, Petrie, and Zibanejad. Where is Panarin? He had 3 points. Only 3 points in 8 games played. So that's definitely an issue. Let's see in goal. Oh boy, Shesterkin with an 880 save percentage, and he's supposed to be asking for 11 mil on his extension. I don't know about that. I don't know about that right now. I mean, he's asking for less now, but still, is that really worth 10.7 mil? Not a great way to start the season there, Shesterkin. All right, let's take a look, see what's going on with the special. Maybe there's something going on with the special teams. Let's take a look at the team stats. Goals for per game. We are, oh boy. Dead last in the league, 32nd in the league with a 2.13. Dear Lord. Goals against per game, we are also near the bottom of the league, 3.88. Yikes, this is just not a good start right now. Face-offs, we are 30th in the league with a 46.6. Oof. Power play, 30th in the league with a 8.7, and then the penalty kill, shockingly not at the bottom of the league with an 81.3. I know we changed up the roster composition quite a bit to fit under the salary cap, but I certainly was not expecting this. So let's take a look at the defensive stats, see what we're doing as far as hits go. Rempe with 22 so far in 8 games played. Then you have Kreider and Zibanejad with 12. 11 for Shea, 10 for Petrie, Trocheck, Lafreniere, and Nash, 9 for Edstrom, Donato, and Hedel, 8 for Gustafsson, 7 for Schneider. So it looks like we're getting quite a few hits there. And actually, I'll check the team stats for total hits. Where are we compared to the rest of the league? 23rd, 160, and the top of the league is 220. Yeah, I mean, we could be hitting a bit more for sure. Could definitely be hitting a bit more. You know, I think let's just see what lines AV comes up with. All right, I'll leave the lines to him for right now. And if I don't like what I see, then we could always go back to the preset that I saved here. So I'll give him control over the lines for right now. Let's just see what he does. All right. I don't need to micromanage every little thing. So let's just see what happens leading up to November 1st. All right. So we're 5-8-1 on November 1st. We did have a couple of good games in that stretch. So I think we'll stick to the AV lines for right now. It looks like he's got Kreider on the second line, Lafreniere on the first. All right. Looks like Kreider and Fox have been doing better as of late. Fox had 6 points in the past 2 games. Then you have Kreider scoring pretty regularly. And now all of a sudden you have Laurent Brossoit in 4 games played with a .932 save percentage. So he's doing pretty well so far. And Shesterkin, unfortunately, I mean, he's getting better for sure. Better than the start of the season, but definitely not what you expect still out of a $11 million goaltender. But he was definitely very good against Seattle and against Buffalo in this past stretch. So he seems like he's getting better, but we'll see how that holds up until the trade deadline. So I'm not going to do anything yet regarding Shesterkin's extension. So since we're seeing some positive trends, I think I feel pretty comfortable to continue in the simulation here, even without making any changes. But obviously, if we don't have a good November, then we're probably going to have to consider making a move or two. Well, Gustafsson down with an injury, fractured cheekbone for 1 to 2 months. Unfortunate, so we'll have to send him to the injury list. I think Robertson's going to be dressed, and then I'll call up Scanlon. All right, well, on December 1st now, we're 14-11-3. We're definitely doing much better with the AV line, so I think we'll stick to that. Kreider has 27 points in 28 games played, so he's definitely proving his worth, even at 33 years of age. Fox with 24 points, 21 for Panarin, 19 for Zibanejad, 18 for Hedel, 17 for Lafreniere and Donato. Trocheck with 16, 14 for Shea, 13 for Kakko, 11 for Petrie, 8 for Rempe, 7 for Gustafsson and Schneider, 3 for Robertson and Edstrom, 2 for Miller, 1 for Scanlon, Vesey, Nash, and Coyley. And then in goal, you have a .930 save percentage for Brossoit in 9 games played. And for Shesterkin in 19 games played, you have a .901 save percentage. So slowly but surely getting better, but he's still having some ugly games in there. .857 save percentage, .886, .897, .871 against Carolina. So the question we have to ask for Shesterkin, is that worthy of 10.5 or 11 mil or whatever he's going to ask for by the time the trade deadline rolls around. And right now he's asking for 11 mil. So that's actually increased from last time. I mean, he had a good season last year with that .918 save percentage and a .1956 goal saved above average. But following that up with a .901 so far is not a good look for a goaltender who's asking for that much money. So let's take a look at the team stats now. We are currently in goals for per game. We are 23rd in the league with a 3. So that's better than before. Goals against per game, we are currently, oh wow, that's improved a lot. 2.75, 5th in the league now. So that's good to see. Faceoffs, we're 23rd in the league with a 49%. Hits, where do we stand for hits? 7th in the league with a 633. So we're definitely seeing some positive trends here. Now it's about being consistent with them. Unfortunately, the power play has been brutal all season, it seems. 14%. 31st in the league still, and the penalty kill 5th in the league with an 85.2. So I think we have definitely shown that we are much better than the way we started during the start of the season with my lines. So we'll keep rolling with the AV lines because they've been working. But this team has still definitely got some weak spots, and I think right now that weak spot is primarily Igor Shesterkin, unfortunately, because at the moment at least Laurent Brossoit has proved to be a bit more, maybe not as consistent, but definitely better overall. Obviously, we could be scoring a bit more, but we're currently seeing a positive trend, so I don't really want to mess with anything right now. because all in all, November was a pretty solid month. You start out with a win against Washington, then a win against Florida, a win against Chicago, a 3-game winning streak there, a loss against Carolina, but then a win against Minnesota and a win against Detroit. So you're 5-1 there, 5-2 with a loss against Vegas, 6-2 with that win against Colorado, a loss against Edmonton, a win against Washington, a loss against Buffalo, a win against Detroit, then a loss against Nashville, and a win against St. Louis. So we went back and forth there in the second half of November, but still, we did get more wins than losses, and in our situation right now, that's a good thing. That can only be a good thing. So I think we'll keep going to the simulation here, but there are some things we do need to keep an eye on. All right, Erik Gustafsson has returned from his injury, so we'll be placing him back on the active roster. And I was gonna say that we could afford to keep everybody on board right now, as we only have 23 players on the roster, but we're slightly above the salary cap ceiling, so I think I'll send down Scanlon probably. All right, so we're on January 1st. We're 23, 16, and 3. Currently second in the division, right behind New Jersey. Let's take a look at the player stats, as Adam Fox currently leads the way with 41 points in 42 games played, followed up by Kreider with 40, Panarin with 36, Zibanejad with 33, Lafreniere and Hedl with 26, 25 for Trocheck, 23 for Shea and Donato, 20 for Kakko, 14 for Petrie, 13 for Rempe, 11 for Schneider, 9 for Miller, 8 for Gustafsson, 7 for Edstrom, 5 for Robertson, 2 for Vesey and Coyley, and then 1 for Scanlon and Nash. But then the elephant in the room, Igor Shesterkin. Yeah, he's been just so all over the place. He has his really good games like 964, 968, 946, but then there's other games where he's just completely not there. 853, let's see, 857, 853, 857. That's 3 games in a row. 821 against Colorado. So I'm not tempted to re-sign Shesterkin. I gotta be honest. He's been struggling for a little bit too long to be considered just coincidence, you know? Like this has turned into a pattern this season for him. And while again he did have a good season last year, this season to follow it up with a performance like this is not good in a contract year for, especially for a 29-year-old goaltender who's asking for, once again, 11 mil. He's now asking for even more, 11.4 for 8 years. Yeah, I'm not feeling Shesterkin. There's no chance that I'm giving that kind of contract to a goaltender who's struggling this much. And I don't know if that can even be attributed to our defense, because Brossoit's not struggling when he's in there. You know, he doesn't play as often as Shesterkin, granted, but he's got that 920 save percentage, and he's got the same defensive core in front of him. Could our defensive core be better? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, our defensive core is not great by any stretch. I mean, obviously got Fox in there, but that's about it. After that, it's Shea, Miller, and then everybody else. But still, I don't think our defense is that bad to the point where Shesterkin, who is supposedly good enough to be asking for 11.5 for 8 years, but he's certainly not playing like that right now. And the problem is we can't really acquire too many better defensemen at the moment because our salary cap is like right there at the cap ceiling. So if we want a better defenseman, we're going to have to move one of these higher price forwards. I mean, I guess we could also include Gustafsson. He's on a $3.9 million deal at a 2-star ability. I believe he was a 2.5-star when we started, right? Let's see. Yeah, his progress reports shown his physical ratings going down a little bit. What about everything else? Mental ratings stayed the same. Offensive ratings have stayed the same. Defensive ratings have stayed the same. So it's really just physical for him, but still he is dropping a little bit. And I mean, I guess that's to be expected at his age at 32, but if we could possibly move him for an upgrade on defense, I would not be opposed to that. I mean, let's see. Are there any truly expendable forwards here who are making a decent chunk of money? What about Kakko? What's he been doing? 20 points in 41 games played, 25 hits. I mean, he's not the greatest simulator, to be honest. What about Hedl? He's got 26 points in 42 games played, 27 hits. How's he on faceoffs? Only 40.8. Oof, that's not good. Yeah, his faceoffs are at a 10. I don't know why he's a center. If I were in control of the lines again, I would definitely switch him to wing, because that 10 for faceoffs is not helping him. What about Trocheck? How's Trocheck doing on faceoffs? I would imagine he's pretty good. He's got that 17 rating. Let's see. Yeah, 57.4. He's a beast at faceoffs. 63 hits. Yeah, I think I want to hold on to Trocheck, at least for this year, because he doesn't seem like he's showing any signs of regression or Is he is his development chart glitched or something? I'm not seeing any graph there whatsoever. I mean, maybe something has to change in his development first for something to show up there, but still, I think I want to hold on to Trocheck for this year. Yeah, the more I think about it, the more Shesterkin trade is looking more likely here, because not only am I really hesitant to give him that extension right now, but we could also clear, that's also, you know, nearly, that's 5.6 in cap space that we could clear up to get an upgrade on defense, you know. But at the same time, I sort of want to see if Shesterkin would perform better with a better defensive core in front of him. But at the same time, it goes back to that same argument of Bressois doing just fine with that 920 save percentage. So why shouldn't someone like Shesterkin be? Yeah, there's certainly a lot to think about here. I think I'll go one more month. We'll go up to February and see what happens. But I gotta be honest, at the moment, I am not high on Igor Shesterkin, and if we go by another month here in January and he does not perform up to par, then he may very well be on his way out. All right, February 1st with 33, 19, and 3. We had a very good month of January. So I'm expecting that Shesterkin's save percentage should be better, but it seems not. 899. That's 0.001 better than when we last checked. Let's see his recent history. He had 2 very good games against Columbus and Minnesota, but then an 825 against Columbus, 7 goals against, 889, 893. Before that, he had a 923, 970, 928. And then a 826 against Dallas. Yeah, Shesterkin seems to be the kind of goaltender, at least this season, where he can have an absolutely incredible game, and then next thing you know, he's got doozies like this at an 825. Yikes. And that's been the case throughout this entire season so far. He's still got a negative 8.05 goals saved above average, 899 save percentage. And then Bressois in 14 games played with a 914 save percentage. So he's gone down a little bit recently. 826 against Tampa, 920 against Vancouver, 875 against Colorado. Yeah, it seems like we just can't get consistent goaltending here in New York for whatever reason this year. So let's check out the team stats. We're 14th in goals for per game with a 3.25. Goals against per game, we are 10th in the league with a 2.96. Face-offs were near the bottom, I would imagine. Yeah, 22nd with a 49.2. Power play, we are 22nd in the league with a 17.9, so that's recovered a little bit. And then the penalty kill, we're 4th in the league with an 82.9. Here's the thing. I don't want to make a trade for a defenseman who might end up just being a rental. So if we're making a trade for a defenseman, it's got to be someone who's going to be sticking around here long term. And unfortunately, there's no one on the trade block currently that's really jumping out to me. I mean, I'm pretty sure I haven't seen a single 2.5 star ability here. I think it's all 2 stars or below, at least as far as the guys that are currently available. Yeah, there's not much. At least at this moment, there's not much on the trade block, and I don't really feel like overpaying, especially with the situation this team is in. And especially given our salary cap situation, we have to be mindful of the type of contract that we're trading for too. Shesterkin's asking price just keeps increasing though. I'm just trying to think of what would be an acceptable return for Shesterkin, because right now I'm kind of leaning towards that, towards trading him. I can't even get a first right now, at least not from Seattle. And that's the kind of first I would want for a player like Shesterkin, right? The high firsts. And it doesn't seem like we're going to get that. We would probably have to add more to that deal, which I'm not a fan of. We also have to consider the extensions of players like Lafreniere, K-Andre Miller, Ryan Donato, who for whatever reason is going from 2 mil to 5.4. No, thank you. I mean, then again, he's been pretty good this year. 31 points in 55 games played, 58 grade. How's he doing physically? 45 hits. Yeah, I mean, he's not bad. Not bad, especially given the fact that he's a third liner and at least currently is not getting any power play time. So that makes all those points even the more impressive. So at least for this year, he's a steal at 2 mil for 1 year. I think what we really need is that fourth line to chip in a little bit offensively, because you have guys like Trocheck, who is currently on the third line with 35 points, right? And then Hedl with 37, Lafreniere with 34 points, Donato on the third line with 31 points. So you have some good secondary scoring there, but that fourth line is incredibly inept offensively. I think I would also like to see the defense a little bit more involved offensively. Obviously, you have Adam Fox with 54 points in 55 games played. Then you have Shea with 32, but then it drops off to Petrie with 15, then Miller with 14, Schneider with 12, Gustafsson with 11. And then, of course, there's the Shesterkin situation. So we're probably going to leave it off here because there is a lot of big decisions to be made. First off, do we re-sign Shesterkin? And if not, what do we trade him for? But then there's also the issue of the salary cap and of course the state of the defensive core. But at the same time, we're a good team right now. We're 33, 19, and 3. So I'm tempted to leave this team untouched. But the problem is that Shesterkin is such a valuable asset that I don't want to lose him for nothing. And I'm leaning towards not re-signing him right now because he's just not showing any kind of consistency. But at the same time, is that attributed to our lack of a defensive core? And you could attribute that fact to the fact that we don't really have any salary cap space. It's weird because we're definitely not a rebuilder. This team is far from a rebuilding state, but I think it relies so much on their star power, like, Shesterkin, Fox, Panarin, Zibanejad, and Kreider, that it doesn't really leave room for much else, And obviously we're getting some depth scoring, but that doesn't really make up for the struggles of Shesterkin, unfortunately. All right, you know what? We'll go one more month. We'll see what happens leading up to the trade deadline, because right now there is a very thin line that I'm walking right now in regards to Shesterkin, because obviously the team's seeing success right now, so I don't want to trade him, but at the same time, I do want to trade him because his contract is just going to be way too much relative to what he's been doing lately. All right, well, on March 1st, basically at the trade deadline, we are 43, 23, and 3. Good enough for second in the division still, right behind New Jersey. And it seems that Igor Shesterkin has gotten a little bit better. He's at a negative .53 goal saved above average and a .905 save percentage. Recently, game by game, he's had a couple of stinkers in there with an .833 against Carolina, .852 against Detroit, and those were both in February. But besides that, he was pretty good that month with a .926, .971. He had a shutout against Washington, .911, .972, .920, .943. And that was at the end of last month against Columbus. Of course, he's asking for a no trade clause now. He wasn't asking for that before. And he's still asking for 7 years at 11.5. That's a lot. That's a lot. Let's just see how low he's willing to go, all right? I'm going to start at 10.45. I know he's not going to accept that. But, you always start lower than what you actually mean to offer. Okay, so I got him down to 10.6 and a no trade clause for 7 years. Do I want to give him 10.6? I'm not sure. I mean, the way he's been playing as of this past month certainly seems like he's getting back on track, but can he be trusted to stay consistent with that? Will he get back? The question I'm asking myself is, will he get back to the way he was last season for the Presidents, right? With that .918 save percentage. I mean, his ratings overall say yes, he should, but is it worth that kind of contract? Because remember, if we sign that contract with Igor Shesterkin, we're going to have to get rid of somebody here. We're going to have to get rid of a big player. At the same time, we also have to consider the aging core of this team, right? Kreider being 33 with that 3-year contract at 6.5. Panarin being 33 with that 11.6 for 2 more years. Zibanejad being 31 with a 6-year deal for 8.5 million. Not to mention Trocheck as well at 31 years of age, 5-year deal for 5.6 million. So there's a lot to consider here. So I think with that being said, we're going to end things off here, and we should definitely think about our next move carefully here, because one thing is for certain: if we're not re-signing Shesterkin, then he's definitely getting traded. Definitely. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. I'm not letting Shesterkin walk. He's either getting signed or he's getting traded. And again, if we sign him, we're going to have to move somebody out for sure. So just something to think about there. So once again, I'll leave you guys off here, and the next one we'll hopefully figure out what's going on here at the trade deadline, and we'll finish up year number 1 with your New York Rangers.